Hey, fifth graders. So today we're going to be focused in our packet on page 579. I put it down here in the corner. So I did not give you the teacher manual pages for this one, so I would love it if you guys could follow along with us with a paper and pencil. Alright, yesterday, if you guys were reading through your teacher packet and your assignments, we were learning about different ways to categorize polygons. Okay? You spent a little bit of time on categorizing three-sided polygons, which are triangles, and then four-sided polygons, which are quadrilaterals. Tri standing for three, quad standing for four. Okay, so today we're going to actually be using a Venn diagram to describe the various quadrilaterals that we're given. Okay, because as we know, different polygons are given different attributes, going from most general to the most specific. Okay, so in number one on page 579, like I said earlier, is a hierarchy, fancy word for saying something, describing something and categorizing something into most general and most specific. And that's what we're going to be doing with four different types of quadrilaterals, or I should say polygons. Okay? Ovals A through D in this Venn diagram list attributes of four categories of quadrilaterals. So we have A, B, C, D. A being most general, and D being most specific. Now, as we work from A to D, okay, like I said, we're getting more specific, and D having all of the attributes A, B, C, plus one more. Okay? So that's how a Venn diagram works, is we go from the biggest circle, encompasses all of the various polygons and quadrilaterals that we'll be describing, D being the most specific of attributes. Okay? So it says, use the terms below to fill in the names of the subcategories for the most general, which is quadrilaterals, to most specific, the one polygon that has the most attributes. Okay? So the ones we're going to be categorizing is rectangles, squares, and parallelograms. Okay, so let's start with the outermost of our Venn diagram, the most general, and that is quadrilateral. Okay? All the thing that describes a quadrilateral is any shape that has four sides. So it could be something that doesn't have parallel lines, doesn't have right angles, and doesn't have equal lengths of sides. Any shape that has four sides is a quadrilateral. That's the most general. Now, if I look at the more specific, okay, we're looking for something that has four sides, but as well as two parallel sides. Okay? So it doesn't mean it has to have right angles, or it has to have all angles or all sides of equal length. It just needs to be four-sided, but with two sets of parallel sides. Now looking up here, we have rectangles, squares, and parallelograms. Now the big one here is almost in its name is parallelograms. Parallelograms have two sets of parallel sides. Okay? Okay, so a parallelogram has two key attributes here. That's why it's deeper in our Venn diagram. It has a four-sided figure, and it has two sets of parallel sides. Okay? So let's go to letter C, an even more specific polygon. So we're looking for something that has four sides, has two sets of parallel sides, as well as four right angles. And what we have left is rectangles as well as squares. Now in our previous video we already talked about squares a little bit more specific because all four sides are the same length. So for here, anything that has four sides, its two sides are parallel lines, and four right angles, that would be a rectangle. Okay? Rectangles. See how the deeper we get in the Venn diagram, the more attributes each polygon has. And now our last one you know is squares because that's our remaining one, but why? Well, it has four sides, it has two sets of parallel sides, it has four right angles, and all four sides are equal length. So that is our square. Now, which one has the most attributes of the different quadrilaterals? It's squares. And that's why it's deeper in our Venn diagram, because it has more qualities, has more characteristics, has more attributes. Okay? So we went from the most specific, most general, which includes a ton of different shapes, to the most specific, which only includes one, because it has the most attributes. Okay? All right, we're going to move on to number 2. Okay, continuation. It's much of the same of what we just did, just a different visual way of representing it. Instead of a Venn diagram, we're doing it in a list form. So it says use the Venn diagram and what you know about the quadrilaterals to complete the table. Fill in subcategory names for B through D and attributes for C through D. Okay? So, we have in category A, most broad, we have quadrilaterals. That's our category. And the attribute is just any polygon with 4 sides. We already knew that. Now, letter B. What's our subcategory? That's within our category already. Letter B would be, our second most general would be a parallelogram, because it has 4 sides and 2 sets of parallel sides. So, parallelogram, if I can spell it. Alright, sorry for the bad penmanship. Sometimes these markers get a little tricky. Okay, now, our next subcategory from our Venn diagram, our next most specific one would be rectangles. Okay? So in here I'm going to put rectangles. Now we know from our Venn diagram that it should share all of these qualities. So it has 4 sides. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides. 2 pairs of parallel sides. And what is the last attribute that it shares that makes it a little bit more specific is it has 4 right angles. And then our last subcategory, we know from our Venn diagram previously, is squares. And once again, it shares all of these attributes. That's why it's in the center of the Venn diagram, except it has one more added on attribute. So it does have 4 sides. It does have 2 parallel sides. It has 4 right angles. But what makes a square square compared to a rectangle? 4 sides of equal length. Equal. Good. So I didn't rewrite it again. I thought that was overkill. So these arrows indicate that the square has all of those different attributes. Once again, I'll reiterate what I just said. Most broad to most specific, meaning it just has another attribute. Alright guys, hopefully this was helpful for your practice pages, because there is no teacher manual pages for that. So use this video, and I hope it was helpful. Alright.